My name is Santa Ono, and I have the privilege of serving as the President and Vice Chancellor of the University of British Columbia. Please join us in singing our national anthem, led by our University Marshal Nancy Hermiston, Director of the Opera and Voice Program at the UBC School of Music. Students, would you please remove your caps? Thank you, Professor Hermiston. We pause for a moment to give thanks, spiritual and temporal, for the manifold blessings that we share in this wonderful world, this great nation, this blessed and beautiful province, this magnificent university. And we respectfully acknowledge the Syilx Okanagan Nation and their peoples, in whose territory we stand and are gathered upon today. We give thanks for these most proud students and their even prouder family and friends on this most happy of occasions. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. Let's try it again. Good morning, everyone. Chancellor Gordon, honored guests, members of the Board of Governors and the Okanagan Senate, members of our distinguished faculty, staff, alumni, and most especially you, our graduates, family, and friends, welcome to this graduation ceremony. What an honor it is for us to be with you today to celebrate University of British Columbia's graduating class of 2018. Let's hear it for them. Graduates, are you ready to receive your degrees? You can do better than that. Graduates, are you ready to receive your degrees? Parents, grandparents, siblings, and friends, are you ready for them to receive their degrees? I can tell you that this is one of the best days for this university. Everyone on this stage is looking forward with great anticipation to this graduation day. This is what this is all about, to participate in this joyful, momentous occasion. This day, graduates, is all about you and what you have achieved through hard work, determination, and inspiration. You know, it's not easy to get into the University of British Columbia. I can tell you I travel the globe, and for every one of your seats, there are 10 or more students that would love to be seated here, about to receive their UBC degree. It's a testimony to you that you got into this institution, but not only that, that you have actually survived and persevered and thrived, really, in the midst of a very challenging curriculum, and that you have grown and transformed yourselves into individuals that inspire us, individuals that I'm sure make your loved ones very, very proud. Now, graduation is incredibly special for a number of reasons. Some of you have graduated once before, maybe a couple of you have graduated twice before. It's something that occurs relatively early in your lives, and after this great transformation from someone who was a teenager into someone who is a young adult, someone who was searching to someone who has found their gifts. Graduation is a moment where many of you will transition to the workplace and some of you will have further education. But it really is a very meaningful moment because it really reflects the transition from one stage of your life where you're searching for your gifts to a moment where you've found your gifts and where you're thinking about what to do with those gifts. And because of that, graduation is a time to imagine your future and the world to come. And in many ways, it's uncertain, not only because of your circumstances, but because the world itself is unpredictable. It's not clear how the world will change. And so, since that's the context in which you will do everything, with a changing context, you have to be flexible, adaptable, just as you've shown that you can be during your time here at UBC Okanagan. When you do think about the road ahead, as unclear as it might be, we hope that you will, every step of the way, gain perspective from what you've learned, not only at this institution, but in previous institutions. What you've learned from your parents, from your very first step, and especially from the days even before your very first step. I can tell you as a parent, I can remember the great anticipation and excitement when my two kids took their first steps. Let's hear it for your parents and your grandparents, your older siblings, uncles and aunts, and especially your moms for being with you for before that very first step. Let's hear it for them. We hope when you look back at your time at UBC that you will do so with fondness, and that when you look ahead, you will see UBC still very much part of your future. You see, this is not about a goodbye. This is about au revoir. This is about until we see each other again. One of the things that you don't know yet, because you're just becoming an alumnus today after you get your diploma, one of the things you don't know is that UBC really puts a great amount of effort through Alumni UBC to visit with alumni around the globe. You are joining a group of 325,000 alumni of this great institution. And wherever you go, there will be clubs and there will be events, and I travel around the globe to meet with alumni. And we hope to continue to engage with you as you travel. Sometimes travel just within the city or within the province or across Canada or around the world, wherever you are, we hope to continue to engage with you. And as you begin your new stage in your life and your experience, be absolutely confident of one thing, and that is that we, every single one of us on this platform, are absolutely confident that you have the capacity and skill and passion to continue to thrive, to move from success to success, even if your travels and your trajectory do on occasion have challenges. Just like you've been able to overcome challenges while you've been here at UBC, we know that you have the grit and resolve and resiliency to continue to move on and to continue to build upon the excellent education that you've received here and the totality of what you've experienced here from your faculty, from your friends, and from watching your beloved parents and grandparents. In his very first address to UBC's initial graduating class in 1916, UBC's very first president and vice chancellor, Frank Westbrook, encouraged those 40 students to make the world a better place in which to live. And it was a very high bar for those students. You see, UBC back then was a little bit of an experiment. Its founding occurred in fits and starts. And early on in the history of UBC, there were times when it wasn't clear that UBC would persist. There were times of economic instability. There were times when it really wasn't clear that the fledgling institution could thrive. But I really think it's because of the students who demanded the institution that the province of British Columbia support this institution, and because of alumni who are passionate about the importance of education as a ticket to social mobility, and that education was a right for all citizens of British Columbia. It's because of that passion that UBC was able to grow into one of the 30 greatest institutions in the planet. And so if you look at their graduation, the first graduating class, and your graduating class, it was a very different place. But there's a core value that I wanted to talk to you about that really, I think, in many ways, is the secret sauce of this institution. Just a couple of weeks ago, I received a phone call from the editor of U.S. News and World Report. And he asked me, do you realize that among the 30 best institutions of higher education in the world, that UBC is one of the 2 youngest institutions to actually elevate itself to that very, very rarefied air of institutions, the top 30 out of probably around 10,000 universities around the world. And I said, I didn't really know that, but I'm going to start talking about it. We're pretty proud of that. And he asked me, why do you think that UBC and UCLA, being such young institutions, have elevated themselves in such a short time, in just over a century, to be institutions that are globally recognized and respected? And so I had to think about it for a while. But I said, you know, it's because of people. It's because of character. It's because of creativity. But collectively, I think, it's because of the passion and drive of the students that have been part of this institution for decades. That's really what it's about. You know, it's not, although we're very proud of how beautiful the campuses are and how beautiful the buildings are, it's really not that. The quality of the institution rests primarily in the quality of the faculty and students of the university. The reputation is built upon that. The esteem in which it's held as a place for the creation of new knowledge really rests in you, the human capital of the institution. Now, that very high bar that President Westbrook set for that initial class, by the way, that those graduates actually met in spades, with 3 of them going on to become Rhodes Scholars and others to become renowned scholars in multiple fields. That bar we set for you as well. Today, 102 years later, we echo those remarks. We believe in you as people. And as I said, the secret sauce of this institution, the secret sauce really of civilization, is the character and resolve of the people that populate it. That's why we have confidence in you. We believe that each and every one of you has the capacity and skill and drive to succeed and, yes, to make the world a better place. Now, I want you to leave you with just some thoughts on the motto of this great institution. We told you about those words, tuum est, when you first arrived at the university, at Create. And tuum est has two meanings. One of them is very apropos for today. That meaning is, it is yours. It is absolutely correct that today, on your graduation day, the diploma is yours. No one can take it away from you. I hope you frame it, put it up in your living room, let your parents and grandparents look at it lovingly, because they're just as much a part of that as you are. But, and the education that you received, it is yours. No one can take it away from you. But there's a second meaning about tuum est that I want you to focus on, and I want to say a couple of remarks about. That meaning is, it's up to you. And if you think about it, what does that mean? Well, I want to tell you a little bit about what a great artist, Pablo Picasso, said. He said, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." Let me expand upon that for a second. You know, you spend a lot of time being transformed here, and your loving parents and grandparents have looked after you, watched you make mistakes here and there, and you've learned from that. Your professors here have watched you make mistakes here and there, but they've seen you grow. And through that, you've found your individual self. You know more than you did 4 or 5 years ago what your gifts are. One of those gifts is pretty generic. It is that you are an educated person, that you're leaving here with a diploma from a highly respected global university. That's the gift. It's also a privilege. There are lots of people in this world who would love to be in your place today. And by virtue of no fault of their own, through their childhood or their circumstances, there's no way that they even had a fighting chance to be in the seat that you are today. So you have lots to be grateful for, lots to be proud of. You've found your gift. So you've accomplished what Pablo Picasso said, as I look down at my phone to make sure I say it right. The meaning of life is to find your gift. But I think the second part of what he said is more profound and is really, I think, relevant to the second meaning of tuum est. It's up to you. The purpose of life is to give that gift away. Now, in Pablo Picasso's case, his gift was art. And some of you will be educators. Some of you will become managers and CEOs. Some of you will take your education and do completely different things. But the thing that we want you to think about, and is up to you, is what you do with that gift. It's not up to your parents anymore. It's not up to your professors anymore, even though hopefully you've learned through example why they do what they do. You see, it's up to you to decide what you do with the foundation and the respect that comes with your diploma. And I can tell you that one of the things that I get to do, traveling around the globe, is to meet with multi-billionaires. Some of them are very happy. Some of them, to the very last day of their life, are not very happy. Some of them are very lonely. So the lesson that should tell you is that, first of all, you're all gifted. You're all going to make a lot more money than most of the world. But what it should tell you is there's much more to life than how much money you have. Money won't make you happy. There's a gift to being able to make money, that's for sure. And you can do a lot of good things if you have lots of money. But the real purpose of life isn't making money. but is giving it away. Whether it's money, whether it's your talents, whether it's a particular skill in inspiring people if you're an educator, or making sure that your company has values and does things and adheres to practices that are beyond its own growth as an institution. You see, it's not just about the bottom line. It's up to you what you do with your gift. You see, sometimes I think about my life sort of like a baseball game. I'm 56 years old, which means I finished 5 of my innings, and I'm in my 6th inning. Well, typically you have, if you're lucky, 9, if you're really lucky, 10 innings. So I'm past the halfway mark by far in my life. You have many more innings than I do. But I hope that one of the things that you've noticed is life goes quickly. I talked to some of you actually walking up on the way to this stage, and I said, did it go fast? And I'd say 2/3 of the students say, it went faster than I can even believe. And the parents and grandparents here probably will agree that life gets even quicker, doesn't it, as time advances. So what I want to leave you with is this. You found your gift. You're all miracles. We're all incredibly proud of you. What you have, it is yours. But what you do with it is up to you. And if you look at the example of people who graduated before you, one of the things that makes me most proud of this institution, most proud of the faculty of this university, is when they ask that question to themselves, to a mest, it's up to me. Many of them have decided and realized that the biggest way and the most satisfying thing they can do is to give that gift away. Think about it. And with that, class of 2018, congratulations. Every year at Convocation, UBC has the honor of bestowing honorary doctorates upon individuals who, in the opinion of the university, fit the criteria of excellence and eminence in their chosen field, and who have also, in our opinion, lived lives that will be inspirational to you, our graduates. Anthony von Mandel exemplifies these characteristics, and I invite him now to step forward to receive his honorary degree. Mr. Chancellor, an acclaimed business leader and visionary entrepreneur, Anthony von Mandel has dedicated his life's work to placing British Columbia's Okanagan Valley on the international map. As proprietor of Mission Hill Family Estates and founder and chief executive officer of the Mark Anthony Group of Companies and chairman of the Von Mandel Family Foundation, he is a true British Columbian and Canadian success story. In pursuing his vision, he has created some of the most dramatic destination wineries anywhere in the world. This collection of prestige wineries and estate vineyards includes some of the most prominent names in the Okanagan Valley: Cedar Creek Estate Winery, Checkmate Artisanal Winery, Martin's Lane Winery, and the iconic Mission Hill Family Estate. Each winery meticulously crafts a distinct portfolio of luxury wines that are a true reflection of the territory of the valley and are synonymous with unparalleled quality and sustained excellence. With over 180,000 visitors annually, his wineries have been instrumental in developing a substantial agro-tourism industry in British Columbia, which now boasts more than 270 wineries and employs more than 10,000 people. Among his many honors, awards, and distinctions, he is a recipient of the Order of British Columbia and was appointed an officer of the Order of Canada in 2016. He is also a humanitarian and philanthropist, a champion for the environment, and is renowned for his support of the visual and performing arts. Mr. Chancellor, in recognition of his extraordinary leadership in business and the arts, and his instrumental role in establishing British Columbia's thriving wine industry, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa upon Anthony von Mandel.
By authority of the Okanagan Senate of this university, I confer upon you, Anthony von Mandel, the title and degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Congratulations.
Class of 2018, you are looking at a very impressive Dr. von Mandel, and I ask him to please say a few words to you as soon-to-be graduates.
Thank you, President Ono. I cannot begin to tell you how humbled I am to receive this prestigious honor. My gratitude to the University of British Columbia, Okanagan, and in particular, Professor Deborah Buzzard, the Okanagan Senate, the Board of Governors, Chancellor Lindsay Gordon, and of course, faculty and students. Today is about our graduates and your family and friends who have supported you on your journey. What a significant personal milestone for each of your lives. When I was in your shoes, I never imagined I would be asked to return to my alma mater to address a graduating class. I believe our dreams can come true. Visions can be realized, and that every one of you can accomplish things in your lives beyond your wildest expectations. Why? Because it happened to me. When I graduated from UBC with an economics degree, I didn't have a dime to my name. All I had was a dream and a lot of student loans. I had no idea, in order to turn my dream into reality, I would build a company that today has sales over $1 billion a year and hundreds of employees in Canada, the United States, and Europe. So, here's my story. At the age of 22, out of a 100-square-foot office in Vancouver, I started up Canada's first company that called itself a wine merchant. I began to represent European wine producers and suppliers and try to sell their wines at provincial liquor boards from province to province. My rent was $29.95 a month. And there were months I didn't know where to find the money to pay for it. That's true. Mark Anthony Wine Merchant's entrance was through the stage door of the Queensmouth Playhouse Theatre in Vancouver, and it was a hike up 3 linoleum-tiled sets of stairs, no elevator. It was a very humble beginning. For the first 6 years, I lived hand-to-mouth just to stay in business. There were endless obstacles. I skipped a lot of meals, had the rug pulled out from under me countless times, but throughout it all, I persevered. The key decision of my career was to, instead of just selling others' companies' products, to also develop our own brands, create trademarks we would own, design the labels, search out great wines at source, blend them ourselves to Canadian tastes, and then have them bottled in Europe and California and bring them to market across the country. After that, things started to fall in place. At the age of 31, we had 13 team members, several top-selling wines across the country, and suppliers from around the world were beating on our door to be their Canadian importer. After 9 years in business, I was a financial success, and to outsiders, I had made it. But my goal wasn't just to build an import business, it was a much larger, audacious goal. To build one of the world's 10 most recognized wineries, and to do this in an unknown region, the Okanagan Valley, in Canada, a country at the time not even thought of as a wine producer. Well, there were more than a few obstacles to overcome, starting with the fact that owning a winery is extremely capital intensive, risky, and a very long-term venture. So let me share a secret with you on how to make a small fortune in the wine business. Well, all you have to do is start with a large one. Well, I didn't have one, but at least by then I paid my student loans off. At the time, the concept, the idea of producing high-end wines in the Okanagan was unimaginable. So not surprising, no one believed in my outrageous dream, let alone was prepared to invest. If I was going to make it happen, the only option was to self-finance. I would have to dream up creative ways to start new businesses outside wines that would produce the cash flow needed to finance my dream. Well, at the time, there were only 5 wineries in the Okanagan, one of which happened to be in some financial difficulty, and there was very good reason for that if you tried their products. I mortgaged everything I owned, borrowed the rest from the banks, and managed to acquire the Golden Valley Winery, changed the name as fast as I could to leave their reputation behind, and renamed it Mission Hill after its amazing hilltop location. Believe me, it looked nothing like it does today. It was a sorry sight. A year later, the world economy was in a deep recession, and Canada was perhaps one of the hardest hit countries. We were paying 25% interest. The banks essentially shut down lending in Western Canada. Just as we were getting started, it looked like the end. To survive, our only option was to innovate, to do things that had never been done before. Golden Valley, the winery we had purchased, in addition to making wine, was also one of 2 cider producers in the province. As their cider was, along with their wines, were virtually undrinkable, the competitor had 92% market share. They had 8. Well, I thought we should be able to do better than that, and found experts in Switzerland in the cider business. I'd lived in Switzerland as a boy, and went on to create the Okanagan Cider Company. Now, our innovation was to, in addition to now producing amazing tasting apple ciders, make the world's first ever flavored ciders using Okanagan fruit, and we tripled the entire size of the Canadian cider business and launched what is now the largest cider company in the country. Amazing. No one else had ever thought about it. We did everything we could think of to self-finance my dream, including launching a then completely unknown beer from Mexico, a country where you couldn't even drink the water, called Corona, all to provide the cash flow urgently needed to make wines at Mission Hill that could stand next to the best in the world. In the early years, the obstacles at times seemed insurmountable. Just when we thought we were coming out of the woods, another challenge was thrown in our path. So, here's my key learning through it all. When you hit a roadblock, invent something new. See all roadblocks as the opportunity to create new paths, as uncharted territory. And that's what we did time and time again. Early on, I was invited to speak to the Kelowna Chamber of Commerce. I think it was a slow month. And I spoke of my vision of dozens of wineries dotting the valley that would lead to an agritourism business with high-end bed and breakfasts and restaurants, attracting recession-proof visitors, creating support industries, and driving this valley's economy. A new blueprint for the Okanagan, which at the time was an economically challenged region. I received polite applause, and many openly wondered how long we'd be around. Well, it took 13 long years before I knew my dream had legs, when out of the blue, Mission Hill won the trophy for top Chardonnay worldwide at the prestigious International Wine and Spirit Competition in London, England. This was a crucible moment for me, for Mission Hill, and for the entire Okanagan Valley. Lightning had struck. Making exceptional wines was one important aspect of success, but I also believe that someone had to build a destination winery in the Okanagan that would attract visitors from the world over. Visitors to Mission Hill would need to leave with a lasting memory they would never, ever forget. And the building and architecture would have to endure and remain relevant and contemporary for the next 300 or 400 years. This had to be all about the long term. I searched Canada and then internationally for an architect to work with to design the new Mission Hill Family Estate Winery in the mid-1990s, and was fortunate to find a little-known architect at the time, Tom Kundig in Seattle. Mission Hill was his first major project, and today Tom is acclaimed as an international superstar architect, a true starchitect. Together, we traveled Europe, Napa, and spent days and days talking about my dream to realize a bell tower and underground cellars blasted into the volcanic rock. Now, when construction started, I didn't have the heart to tell Tom. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. No group of partners or public company would have ever embarked on something that was so ambitiously outrageous at the time, and pressure was on to find a way to pay for the winery as it was being built. Well, thankfully, design and construction took 5 years. And in that time, we'd successfully created an entirely new beverage category, first in Canada and then in the United States, with the development and the launch of Mike's Hard Lemonade. We found our way to pay for the new winery. Well, we built it and they came. And today there are just under 300 wineries in the Okanagan, now a $2 billion industry employing 10,000 people, plus a vibrant agritourism industry. But we're not there yet. We are nowhere near realizing the full potential of this valley. We've only begun to put this valley on the map, a valley that is minuscule in terms of production and relevance. Europe has some 14 million acres of vineyards. The Okanagan has under 10,000. 10,000 acres versus 14 million acres. Which is relevant? So, our only option for the future, our only option to grow and succeed and thrive, is to continuously to raise the bar, to produce wines that stun the international wine world and can be made nowhere else. Now with us, it starts not only with a vision, passion, and relentless determination, but also with the science and expertise we employ in our 36 vineyard sites, from the north to the south of this valley, and the amazing viticultural and technical teams we have assembled from around the world. Today, we are possibly the world leader in the use of drones in vineyards, now flying them at night as well as by day. We are currently, and this is unannounced, transitioning every one of our vineyards to organic farming, and have countless innovations and centers of excellence to continue to increase the distinctiveness and the uniqueness of our wines. Our family's new Checkmate artisanal winery, located down in Oliver near the US border, makes the highest end Le Montrachet-like $100 a bottle plus Chardonnays. Right here in the Okanagan. Who thought that was ever possible? And instead of launching Checkmate in Vancouver or Toronto, we held the world premiere for our little winery in New York, the premiere, the media capital of the world, in a restaurant just featured in Vanity Fair last month as New York's place to be seen. The audience were 70 environmental journalists and key wine writers, and our guest speaker was the world's preeminent scientist and researcher on climate change in vineyards. The message was groundbreaking, shining a light on a subject that had been rarely spoken about in the wine industry. The fact that climate change is now fundamentally changing the wine world, making it impossible to produce elegant, sophisticated Chardonnays, for example, in the Napa Valley. Instead, the Okanagan has now moved into a magical climate zone for Chardonnay, if you do it right. Then in the fall of 2013, something incredibly unexpected happened. Mission Hill won a Best Pinot Noir in the World trophy at the Decanter Wine Awards in London. 14,000 wines are entered there. Lightning had struck again. Now, we'd been working on Pinot Noir at Mission Hill for 15 years, as I believed that our microclimates in a northern Okanagan were ideal. So now was the time to build a new winery that only made Pinot Noir and Riesling. Now, they call Pinot Noir the heartbreak grape because it is the most difficult to make red wine. Pinot Noir hates pumps, to be pumped in a winery. So we decided to build a winery right into a steep, rocky hillside and use only gravity instead of pumps to move the grapes, juice, and wine. The goal is to put the Okanagan on the map for the highest end Pinot Noir next to Burgundy in France. Well, the results? Martin's Lane Winery, what experts are calling, quote, the most radical 6-level 100% gravity-fed Pinot Noir winery in the world. Named after my late father Martin, the winery's contemporary design perfectly reflects the intense natural environment of the Okanagan. The corrugated weathered Corten steel mirrors the bark of the surrounding ponderosa pines, and the black steel accents are reminiscent of the blackened tree trunks scarred in a devastating forest fire that engulfed the valley in 2003. And when you're out on the lake, you can barely see the new winery. It so perfectly fits into our landscape. Now, at Martin's Lane, we produce extremely limited quantities of Pinot Noir and Riesling that are making a name for themselves on the world stage. Our first vintage of $175 a bottle, Fritzy's Vineyard Pinot Noir, Fritzy, by the way, is my mom's name, was awarded an unprecedented 97-point score by Stephen Spurrier, a British winery industry icon, who said this was the highest score he had ever given to an inaugural wine from a new winery. Martin's Lane made its debut last year with TED conference attendees and has been profiled in the London-based international design magazine Wallpaper. Several other media outlets in the US and Europe, including Dwell magazine, have also included Martin's Lane in feature stories highlighting the contemporary winery architecture and are describing it as an architectural marvel. So, how do my learnings apply to you? I began by saying that each of you has the potential to achieve far more than you ever dreamt of. Regardless of what career you pursue, a couple of things that are clear is that to succeed, you first have to find and pursue your passion. And never, after that, forget, even for an instant, that we now live in a global economy, one that is more competitive and in one in which customers and consumers expect more, faster than ever before. Today, regardless where you live, how small or large the community, we all must operate at a world caliber standard and expect it from those around us. Now, people loosely use the phrase world class. It's not easy. Look at the wine business, where we have over 1 million competitive wineries in the world. You can't just stay in the Okanagan and think you're going to succeed. You have to travel, experience, and study in the great regions of the world and bring home best practices and new and better ways of doing things. And importantly, in my mind, you also have to look outside an industry in order to reinvent it. No other wine region in the world has the gift of our pristine environment, unique regional terroir, and the potential to be the next hotspot to attract upscale visitors from around the globe. But we will never achieve that if we are truly not committed to being the best, to being world class. Settling is no longer an option for anyone in any field. Because if you settle, sooner or later, you will be replaced by someone else. By a competitor, by a robot, or by artificial intelligence. Perseverance, continuously innovating, and always raising the bar is what it takes to set you apart and change the world. Now, my final thoughts to you are, graduates, have a dream, believe in it, and in yourself. Then, never let anyone take your dream from you. Guard it with your life, and never settle or compromise your integrity. And importantly, know it's truly not about making money. It's about making a difference. Making money is the byproduct of doing something you love, something you're incredibly good at. Instead, plan to leave a legacy, something that outlasts you, so that your life leaves a lasting impression and makes an impact. It's much more fulfilling. Now, rest assured there will be failures along the way, but remember, what looks like a failure at the time is actually learning. There is always a silver lining in something gone wrong. And let me leave you with one last thought. A small, committed, and passionate team can take on the Goliaths, win, and change the world. It only takes a dream realized to accomplish what others thought was impossible. There's nothing stopping you but yourselves. Know, with perseverance and the commitment to never settle, you can do it. The very best for your futures, and once again, my sincerest thanks to the University of British Columbia, Okanagan for this exceptional honor. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Dr. Van Mandel. And may I say that I have a sense of the exceptional terroir and the opportunity that the Okanagan offers, and a better sense now from a wine perspective. And I feel it's happening to UBC here too. So thank you. My name's Deborah Buzzard. I have the pleasure of serving as the Deputy Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Okanagan campus of UBC. And I want to offer my words of congratulation to the class of 2018. Today marks a tremendous achievement, a true milestone, the culmination of years of hard work, surviving the grueling programming here at UBC, and living to tell the tale. And you have developed skills of persistence that will serve you well wherever you go. But a UBC degree isn't just about the skills or the ticket, the qualifications that you have, the diploma that will get you a job. And much more importantly, it's about preparing you to live a rational, thoughtful, perceptive life. It gives you the tools to flourish intellectually wherever you go. As I look out at this graduating class, I'm struck by your collective power as a force for positive change in the world. And there is indeed much to be done. You have a job ahead of you. But you're ready for this. We know you have the tools, you have the character to take on the challenges, to find those new, as yet unimagined opportunities, and to really make a difference. And indeed, in your time here, you have already done that. I'm going to give you a really concrete example and share it with your family and friends so that they can understand what you've contributed here. Most of you were here in 2014. In that year, the Students' Union held a campaign and organized a referendum to raise money to provide funding to build more library space. You may remember it. It was the More Library campaign. And you all know how critically short we are of good, quiet study space. You know the lineups in the library to find a place to study. You voted overwhelmingly in favor of a new fee of $70 a year, which you willingly agreed to pay, that you would never benefit from as students. You agreed to do what people call paying it forward. You contributed to making this campus forever a better campus for future generations of students like you, so that they would not have the constraints on study space that you had. For that, we are truly, truly grateful. Thank you all, and particularly thank you to those parents who chipped in as well. Today, you can see the results. You probably walked past the new building as it's emerging. It'll be called the Commons, a beautiful new 400-seat lecture theater, event space, digital theaters, all sorts of technologies that are being put into that new study space with a beautiful new reading room. And it's going to be called the Commons Building because it will be open to all. Your gift has truly made a difference to this campus. But echoing the words of our president, graduation's not goodbye, and as he mentioned, there is a homecoming event planned for October. And you will be invited back as alumni, and you'll be invited to visit the new library, and you won't have to study. It will be almost perfection. Never before has a class like yours gone out into such a challenging environment. The very nature of work is changing. Geopolitics, environment, we're facing issues and opportunities that we simply haven't seen before. But we are absolutely confident that you have the skills, the aptitudes, and the grit to take them on and to make things happen. What is it that makes a great university? If you think about it, universities that are truly great, the way that they have their largest impact is through the work of the graduates. It's you. You've just heard a story of someone who changed the landscape through the hard work that he put in and built on his degree in economics from UBC. That's how universities build reputations of greatness. And I have absolutely no doubt that you will go on and make us very proud. Indeed, we're already very proud of you today. So on behalf of the University of British Columbia, congratulations and very best wishes to all of you who are graduating today. I'm pleased now to call on Taylor Sherdown, member of the graduating class, to make remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Buzzard. Mr. Chancellor, honored guests, and fellow graduates. On behalf of my fellow graduates, I'd like to start by thanking all of the friends and family who have supported us throughout this entire journey. Specifically to our parents, thank you for listening to all our complaints and telling us that we could do it even when we didn't think we could. You taught us to persevere when challenged, to get back up when we fall down, and to work hard for what we really want. If not for these lessons, we would not be sitting here today. Your unending patience and love truly mean the world to us, so thank you. Thank you to the faculty and staff for all of your hard work to help us along the way, for trying to make each lecture interesting so that we'd remain engaged, even when you had the dullest material to work with, for encouraging us to try new things, and also for bringing your passion to the classroom each and every day. Finally, congratulations to my fellow graduates. All the late nights and hard work have finally paid off, and we're sitting here ready to celebrate our accomplishments. Today, we look back on all the memories we have made over the past few years. When I was asked to speak on behalf of the graduating class, I was truly honored, but I realized how fast my 4 years here have gone. All of a sudden, those 4 years seemed like a blur. So I decided to take a little trip down memory lane. I remember our first day here at the Create orientation. All the nerves were in overdrive as we worried about our classes, classmates, and living away from mom and dad, many of us for the first time. Classes began, and we got through the first round of midterms, which made us think, okay, maybe we could do this. We managed to get through the next round and the next. To be sitting here today, we've gotten through all of our exams and assignments. 4 years, 2 semesters, a year, 5 classes. That's a lot of exams and assignments, let's just say that. In our first couple of years, we took classes we thought we'd like, but we didn't. And we took classes we didn't think we'd like, but we actually did. Many of us may have even changed programs. But the important outcome was that we found where our passions truly lie. Going down memory lane, I remembered the hours spent preparing for the seemingly endless number of presentations in my 3rd year. I remember working with my team at the end of the year on our live case presentation. I have some great memories of amazing classes that have inspired me. But I think the best memories of my past 4 years are of the inspiring people that I met along the way, from my professors to you, my fellow graduates. These incredible people have challenged me to think and approach various topics and ideas in new and exciting ways. Many of you are sitting here today, so I'd like to thank you for helping me to grow over the past 4 years. Today, I ask each of you to reflect on your time spent here. as these are the memories that we will cherish forever and the friendships that will continue on long past graduation. Today, we are also inevitably thinking about what comes next. And for each of you, whether that be more schooling, starting your career, traveling, or so on, I have a couple of things that I would like you to remember. If you're presented with an opportunity, take it. You'll only regret the ones that you don't. Strive for excellence in everything that you do, and you will always be proud of your work. And finally, find the courage to be yourself and follow your dreams, because each of you has something incredible to offer the world, and I can't wait to see it. On behalf of Alumni UBC, I am honored to welcome you into the alumni family. You now belong to a community of changemakers, 325,000 strong. Graduates like you who are looking to make a positive difference in the world. Visit the Alumni Welcome Tent after our ceremony to see what it means to be a new member of the alumni family. To end, I would like to wish each of you the best of luck with whatever the future may bring you. I hope that you remain kind even when the world isn't, and that you seek out happiness in everything that you do. Congratulations, class of 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. I now call on Provost and Vice Principal Academic Cynthia Matheson to present the Teaching Excellence and Innovation Award.
Thank you, Professor Buzzard. It is my great pleasure to introduce the Award for Teaching Excellence and Innovation. This award, including a $3,000 prize, recognizes outstanding teachers at the Okanagan campus as nominated by students, faculty, colleagues, and alumni. The award highlights the importance of teaching in creating an outstanding student experience. At this time, I would like to announce that the recipient of the Award for Teaching Excellence and Innovation is Dr. Leighton Schneller. Would Dr. Schneller please join me at the podium? Dr. Leighton Schneller is viewed as a leader and a mentor by students, colleagues, and teachers alike. Since 2011, when he joined the Okanagan campus, Dr. Schneller has transformed courses for the education program and provided an exceptional model of quality and pedagogy in British Columbia, Canada, and the United States. Dr. Schneller has accomplished innovative and transformative work through his co-teaching strategies and the unique space gained at Pearson Road Elementary School to provide in situ field study instruction and education. This achievement has benefited many teacher candidates, current teachers, faculty members at UBC, and hundreds of students in our community. Dr. Schneller creates safe and encouraging spaces for all to learn. One of his nominees stated, "His ability to engage students and our future colleagues within a limited period was miraculous, and it has been noted that elementary students often ask for that university guy to come to teach again." Driven by his passion to bridge the theory and practice divide in the field of education, Dr. Schneller has extensive and diverse publications, including films that have inspired educators in rural and remote locations in the Northwest Territories as well as urban settings. Please join me once again in congratulating Dr. Leighton Schneller.
Thank you. I bet some of you students are beginning to wonder how many more awards and prizes I'm planning to introduce. Well, the good news is it's going to be you. Will the candidates for degrees please rise? Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting the candidates for degrees who have successfully completed their studies and fulfilled the conditions that the university has set for them. The Okanagan Senate recommends them to you for the degrees that will be announced by the representatives of the faculties. As each degree is officially conferred, the Dean of the Faculty, and in the case of graduate students, the Dean of the College of Graduate Studies, will congratulate the student. Jaquetta Bernard and Catherine Combin, members of the alumni community, will welcome each student into the Alumni Association and present them with an alumni handbook. The candidates will please be seated.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Candace Amber documented the first public Indigenous charter school in Canada, Mother Earth's Children's Charter School, and their Cree and Stoney worldviews. This study reveals how a sustainability ethos in the heart of their traditions and practices orients teaching and learning towards the strengths and resources of context, valuing the ensuing relationality and suggesting productive ways to proceed. Dr. Amber. Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts. Shannon Dunn. Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Master of Education. Deborah Evelyn Cowell. Michael Hagan. Danae Kusikwenyu. Nigel McCanyo. Erickson Nielsen. Teresa Peters. Lindsay R. Schroeder. Sarah Sutherland. Delcy Michelle Swanson. Amanda Wilkeson. Yushan Zhuang. Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Education. Hannah Elizabeth Alfred. Lindsay Danielle Bach. Haley Aurora Bonato. Christina Michelle Bosch. Charlene Patricia Caruso. Jessica Lynn Coe. Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the University of BC Medal in Education, Jillian Coles. Shanae Angelina Craig. Jillian Cull. Renee Eagleton. Jessica Houghton. Shanae Havala. Avery Elizabeth Jude. Michelle Kova. Taylor Amanda McDonald. Keela Marguerite Martinson. Tyler Ian Edward Pentland. Brianna Ray Pinot. Kayla Ann Powell. Jaden Irene Riddle. Jamie Barbara Keeley Russell. Christy Sebring. Victoria Silver. George Smaldridge. Lindsay Smith. Alexandria Stelnicki. Chanel Caitlin Tamanen. Shaylin Vecchio. Tori Lee Wagner. Valerie Davis. Haley Eileen Kennedy. Jadwin Patricia Courtney Jordan. Bailey Lynn Salenbat. Jessica Bella. Christina Faith Livingston. Nicole Chinook McLean. Natalie Louise Spencer. Edward Trong. Tiana Jade Alexander. Rachel Pauls. Ashley Michelle Schmaltz. Jenna Ray Fisher. Brianne Kristen Henrik. Amy Bell Lloyd. Jessica Tazar. No, it's bachelor's. Okay.
No, not yet.
It's because
He's the first on my list here in management? Okay. So it's management? Hello? Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Management. Murad El-Nashef. Omar El-Mezri. Saj Badwin. Taylor Belanger. Clinton Burney. Alan Blackwell. Brendan Boussier. Navpreet Brar. Madison Jane Campbell. Lauren Candelario. Ian Mackenzie Robert Carlisle. Ryan Danielle Chippett. Quincy Chu. Bob Tao Chung. Joshua Clark. Lucas James Cook Ramok. Marina Eve Costello. Georgia Crashaw. Taylor Margaret Cerncinch. Brooke A. Cumming. Prabha Dhillon. Jonathan Lawrence Donahoe. Mason Dry. Hannah Duffy. Jenna Leanne Kayleen Duke. Bernice Idasua Ibata. Matthew J. Iso. Devin Richard Allen Field. Garrett Fong. Garrett David Franklin. Brandon Fung. Megan Galt. Cassandra Gibson. Jamie Glutek. Andrew Godfrey. Nicholas Gonzalez. Matthew C. Gray. Shinyu Gu. Manuja Gupta. Kirsten Hare. Sharif Hamza. Mackenzie Hartman. Tyler Hesketh. Jessica Holloway. Courtney Huguet. Min Yi Hu. Ji Hua Janice Ip. Lucas D. Isola. Ayadana Ijanova. Manraj Singh Jaswal. Nisha Jaswal. Ajveer Judge. Mr. Chancellor, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the University of British Columbia Medal in Management, head of the graduating class, Olivia Ray Eleanor Johnson. Kyle Junkus. Nikki Kidd. Robert Alexander Keenla. Mark Kobstov. Sarah Marizanne Leung. Andre Lewis. Zhao Ching Li. Hannah Magus. Lucas Mangotich. Mitchell McCaw. Bennett McDonald. Taylor A. McDowell. Chantel Tabitha Dawn McHugh. Arian Osmani. Adam Panjwani. Bailey Madison Penner. Austin Potts. Gabrielle Quinnell. Joseph Raytano. Kirsten Rogavine. Nicholas Ross. Renata Russo. Isabel Ryan. Chanel Senga. Emily Sarkisian. Matthew J. Scoville. Stephanie Elizabeth Schnelling. Desiree Serene Squawkin. Bradley William Roy Stell. Elizabeth Stewart. Joshi Tian. Yulia Teasley-Nock. Curtis Todd. Kirsten Townsend. Hanai Udebra. Michael Vasilal. Carrie Van Eyck. Sarah Van Dorp. Sarah Wassine. Shay White. Jamie Wilson. Yan Jiang. Wei Yang. Yang Yu. Shenge Zhang. Siki Zhou. Terry Butt. Andy Chow. Cameron Mahler. Connor Punch. John Alexander Struthers. Ivan Irwan Chandra. Tomas Saikowski. Anna Karina Gutierrez Sotomayor. Daniel Hannigan. Haitham Hanjazveen. Sinman Kwak. Sinna Kwak. Daniel Meneni. James Paul Newhouse. Benjamin Matthew Thompson. Hillary Wijaya Sujaono Chelp. Kaya Sorrell. Charles Stephen Drummond. Marissa Files. Trenton Gagnon. Sydney Croft. Arden Sauvé. Taylor Sheardown. Sandy Chow.
For those graduates who've just crossed the stage today, as well as those graduates who are unable to make today's ceremony, I hereby admit you to the Convocation of UBC. Congratulations. As Chancellor, it's been my privilege to officiate over today's ceremony. You've shown tremendous commitment, hard work, perseverance, determination to reach this milestone in your life, your graduation. You've had a lot of support along the way, and many of those supporters are in this hall today, your family, your friends, your peers. So I think this would be a great opportunity to turn around and show your appreciation for their support on your journey. Let's give them a huge round of applause. And how about a big round of applause for the faculty on stage as well? So having crossed this stage today, you are now members of the Convocation of UBC, and you are in good company. Since UBC first began granting degrees in 1916, generations of students have crossed the stage, just like this one, to receive their degrees, and they've gone on to help build our community and shape our society. As alumni, your relationship with UBC is beginning anew, and you can maintain your voice in the affairs of the university through your elected members of Senate, by perhaps mentoring one of today's students, or by volunteering for one of the many activities that UBC hosts both here at home and abroad. And as lifelong learners, you will always be welcome to come back and take a course or two. You might want to take a short break before you do that, but you will always be welcome to come back. And I do encourage you to stay and be a part of the future of this institution, because you still have much to offer UBC, just as UBC still has much to offer you. So tuam est, congratulations once again, and please be seated.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our Chancellor, Lindsay Gordon, for presiding over today's ceremony, and also our President, Santa Ono, for joining us for this important celebration. It's always wonderful to have them on campus. Please join me in thanking them. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge Professor Susan Crichton, Associate Dean of the Faculty of Education. This is Susan's last ceremony before she retires on June 30th. As a distinguished scholar and practitioner, Associate Dean and Director of the Innovative Learning Center, Susan has played a critical role on campus as an administrator, a researcher, a scholar, and a mentor. Her passion and leadership were all the more apparent in recent years as she and the faculty reimagined its programming and later moved towards a merger with Canada's preeminent Faculty of Education on UBC's Vancouver campus, an exciting venture. As an experienced teacher, international development worker, and a researcher on design thinking and the maker movement, Susan brings a unique blend of talents and insights which will be sorely missed on campus following her retirement. She's been a wonderful colleague and a friend to all of us here. All the best, Susan. ladies and gentlemen, this brings our ceremony almost to a close. I want to thank you all for joining us today and hope that you've enjoyed it all as much as I have, and that you're able to join us for refreshments which will be served immediately after the ceremony in the courtyard in the alumni tent. We request guests please to remain seated in their places until the academic processions have left the building. But before we begin the procession, we have one more big moment. Parents and families, this is going to be the photo op that you have been waiting for. So get those cameras out of your bags. This is the time-honored tradition known as the cap toss. Not so good. You have been waiting years to do this, right? This is it. This signals you fly. Now, there are some secrets to a successful cap toss. And this being a university, you will be instructed. There are 3 things to remember: synchronization, altitude, and attitude. And I know you have lots of that. So to be sure we get this right and that we are all in sync, I will lead you with a prompt. So follow the instructions. Will the graduates please rise to prepare for the toss? Please remove your caps and hold on to them. In a moment, I'm going to wish you one final congratulations on behalf of the University of British Columbia. And when I say that word Columbia, that's your cue to toss the caps high into the air. And let me tell you that the graduation ceremony for the engineers, they really mastered the attitude and altitude. So, management and education students, this is your chance to excel. And parents, this is your cue to start snapping the photos. So everyone ready on the word Columbia? Mr. Chancellor, President Ono, dignitaries, family and friends, please join me in congratulating once again the fabulous 2018 class of the University of British Columbia.